I don't have my headphones on, but hello everyone, and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. I do have a box. You know, it's just me, it's the box. And this box is from Whalebacker. I don't know quite, I have an idea what it might be, but I don't quite know what it is. It is 13, it has it right here on the package, 13 inches by 10 inches by 2 inches, which is really nice. Is there a weight on it? No, there is not. Yeah, it's a 13 by 10 by 2 package. Interesting. So I did have a box cutter here. So I will open it. I know these aren't the most popular, but to get something. Truth be told, I've been uninspired to do any of this podcasting for no reason. Still playing. Right? It's a single book. It has there's a cardboardy thing. Oh, it's a picture. Now I know what it is. It is the Electric State role-playing game. So if you're familiar with Free League's Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood, now this is when did it all start? I can't really remember. It started like any recreational activity, I guess, like TV. Sometimes they watch TV, and sometimes they would sit there wearing their neurocasters. I didn't care. It was after the big update of 1996 that things got weird. Mode 6 for the Electric State. So I guess it is role-playing game based on the art book, The Electric State, by the acclaimed visual artist and author Simon Stålenhag. This tabletop RPG uses a Free League Year Zero, which you know from Tales from the Loop, Mutant Year Zero, Alien RPG, and Blade. Although Blade, I think, uses the dice chain type of thing, as does Twilight 2000. So this game is about a group of travelers heading out on a journey through the strange America in an alternate 1997. The ruins of gigantic battle drones litter the countryside, heaped together, and the discarded trash of high-tech consumer society is in decline. It's not about the goal, it's the journey, what the characters experience along the way, and how it changes them. I definitely want to check it out. I guess it's a more adult version of Tales from the Loop, I'm thinking, or maybe it's a totally different. No, it seems like it's got Pacifica here, which I guess is like California and stuff. And then Welcome to the Electric State, the state of Pacifica. What it's about, your traveler and combat and neuronics. So there is combat in this game. The journey, threats into the dust, which I guess is an adventure, and then the lone traveler. So welcome to the Electric State. What does that mean? The Electric State takes place in a dark world with many situations that raise issues. So torn apart by a second civil war. Okay. So I guess it is kind of like Twilight 2000, in a way. It's a sort of post-apocalyptic, isn't it? So torn apart by a second civil war, all but a few Americans find escape in the blissful neuronic network known as the Electric State. Outside of the virtual paradise, the wreck hulks of battle drones litter the countryside, like I said. Okay, interesting. All right, so the USA was torn apart by a civil war that commenced in 1975 and concluded with a ceasefire in 1984. In the aftermath, new whole nations emerged, including Pacifica, while North America takes center stage in this game. The events unfolded and mirror what happened across the globe, leading to less globalization and more isolation in the world. So it's basically a world stuck in the late 70s, early 80s, but there was a kind of a global catastrophes. Essentially, the only aspect of society with global reach is neurotechnology. Much of the heralded global village of the 90s died before it had come to truly mature. So it's interesting. So it takes place in the 90s, right? A world where the 90s brought a strange and horrible apocalypse, I guess it is, along with the pop culture anchors we remember. A part of playing the game is digging down into nostalgia, into the pop culture, Kish, and listening to Nirvana, Dr. Dre, Robin, and Nine Inch Nails. Imagine a road trip in an old Dodge Caravan, and where the travelers sit in the back seat, drinking Jolt and playing punch bugs as every VW left drives by. The art's pretty impressive. Pretty neat. And let's see. Again, it's six D6, 2D6, D66, right? So 6 is a success. Measuring time, rounds 5 to 10 seconds, 5 to 10 minutes to stretch, and the shift 5 to 10 hours. So here's the kind of art that you expect from a Simon Stålenhag inspired production. So that's pretty impressive. And then State of Pacifica, they have that. There's a lot of smiley faces on this kind of ring type stuff. Yeah, so they give you a history of what happened, where we are, and how we got there. But they still have these like cone things, this strange technology, right? And the Civil War, neuronics, and then what happened at the end of the war. So I guess here's they explain neuronics. When scientists map the human mind, the neuronic space is a web of neurons that signals to all other connected neurons. So, right. I guess it's like virtual reality escapism. So there's robots, neurocasters, neuroscapes. There's addiction. There's a congenital condition. There's technocults. Drones have become sort of AI-ish. And there's something called the convergence. And there is a map of the kind of world we play in, Pacifica. So it's definitely very different than Tales from the Loop. More darker for sure, right? So here's some of these conning towers here. Yeah. Interesting. Burger King looks like they put in an ad here. So Burger King there. I'm curious. So what's going on? It gives you a gazetteer, different corporations. Hi, buddy. Again, strange smiley faces. It can be disturbing, maybe. And then it tells you about other things: Northern Union, Black Wealth Exclusion Zone, Libertania, the South Republic, which and incidentally is Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma, Canada, Mexico. Right, so it's interesting. They don't talk about the East Coast really, which is curious. Right, so they talk Libertania is Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. And the Northern Union is Washington and Oregon. It's interesting. Yeah. Then they have described in the next chapter. So that's pretty good. They give you the world set up at the beginning and how to play. Chapter 3 goes into creating your character. There's archetypes. You roll for attributes and your scores, calculate your health and hope. So I guess there's like a physical and mental kind of trackers. Roll for your talent. Okay. If your total attribute score is 15 or lower, roll or choose an additional talent. Roll or choose a dream, flaw, favorite 90s song, describe your traveler, choose your name. Roll or choose a neurocaster model. Roll or choose a personal item. Roll starting cash. And then let the GM present your journey or plan it together in a group. Note your destination and your personal goal and threat. You get a vehicle and present yourself to the group and set tension levels with the other travelers. So it's about like journeying through the wasteland or through the, more or less. So there you go. Man, sorry, I sneezed. Excuse me. So strength, agility, wits, empathy. You can push the roll. That's pushing the roll. If you fail, or you just want more d6s, you can push. Grab all the dice and roll a 1, and don't grab the dice that don't show a 1 or 6 and roll. all the dice count after the reroll, including the ones not rerolled. For each one, which is the unhappy face, the sad face symbol on the custom dice, your hope score is reduced by 1. So if you push it, you can stress yourself out, reduce your hope, as it were. So weapons and gear can give you additional d6s. You can help. I don't know if I didn't get custom dice in this one. They talk about health and hope. Health is reduced by taking damage. Hope is reduced by pushing rolls and traumatic events. Neuronics and bliss. It does talk about that your neuronics going into the electric state can be addictive and will cause you to accumulate points of bliss. It's interesting, if your bliss score ever exceeds or equals or exceeds your current hope, you'll be unable to leave the electric state on your own. You'll suffer a mental trauma if someone forces you out. So they'll just have a whole subsystem on that. They have different talents, which are kind of cool. If you played Walking Dead, another game using a D6, there's various talents that you can get. Here, it looks like you don't roll on them. You just choose one. I don't know how many. It's from athlete to tough in alphabetical order. Then your dream and flaw is your own. They have a bunch of different 90 songs. I guess you could roll it randomly. Curiously, they don't let you roll your talents randomly because it's, I guess you want to figure out what you want to do. Most of them give you a +2 dice to something, it looks like. There's a few others. Like medic can help you again. A medic you can roll for wits to stabilize an incapacitated person. You can use the first aid kit to give you a bonus dice. Gear. You roll randomly for gear and your vehicle. I guess you can choose what type of vehicle. There's a list of common vehicles that you can look at in the next chapter. Gives you the whole gear chapter. Tension, what that means. Harder. Tension makes you try harder when you're in conflict with others, with another traveler. And any opposed rolls against a traveler, no matter what the roll is for, you get a number of bonus dice equal to your tension rating. So tension is, guess, is like the mechanic in Alien, where you roll extra dice, or the stress dice that you get in Walking Dead as well. So okay. So no tension, no question marks or unspoken thoughts or feelings. 1 tension, suppressed or contained irritation. Love interest, rivalries. 2 is uncontained strong emotions, rage, love, or fear. So it looks like they only goes up to 2. Gives you a couple dice. How you reduce tension, how you change tension. Artist, criminal, devotee, doctor, drone pilot, investigator. Interesting. Drone pilot is crazy. So drone pilot is interesting. Here, I'll show you a picture. Drone pilot there on the left. But the archetype is a little different. As a drone pilot, your physical body is elsewhere with a neurocaster helmet on. The physical trial you play is a drone. So you're like a drone and you're not really there. Investigator is the next one. Outsider, runaway kid. These archetypes are very similar to Walking Dead. I don't know why they didn't put Walking Dead on the back here. Scientist, veteran, and then combat and neuronics. I guess there's definitely combat in this game. They don't. It's a very short list. Right. So your guns are submachine gun, assault rifle, heavy machine gun, some sort of cannon. Have handguns, revolvers, tasers, sniper rifle. So there you go. They talk about range combat. I wonder if there's a procedural like in Walking Dead. Right, so in every round, so this is just combat is played out in rounds representing roughly 5 to 10 seconds of time. In every round, each participant in the fight gets 1 turn, the opportunity to act. The person who starts the fight gets their turn to act first, along with anyone else on their side. The fighters on the attacking side can act in any order they like, followed by all the defenders. It's unclear who starts the fight. Roll a d6 and add the wits rating of the fighter with the highest score. I think I might do that because, you know, makes it a bit more random. Are players starting the fight all the time? Not really. I don't know, it makes it more interesting that way. Because I think in a lot of times you never really know who starts a fight. Actions and move, you can act, so you have one move and one action or two moves. Then there's reactions as well. So if you get a reaction, it's an immediate action, but you forfeit your next turn. Both the action and the move, actually. So there's three actions too. So in close combat, take the hit or fight back. That's as a reaction. And then range combat, you can stand tall or you could dodge. That would be a reaction for that. So I guess it is important if you get the jump on a fight, then you can be on the offensive. If most people like react, because then right you attack, they react, try to dodge or fight back. Or fight back, I guess, is like a counter attack. Right. So there you go. So interesting. So they have like a lot of firearms in close combat. You can use firearms in close combat. You still use strength, not agility to hit. So interesting. So melee or close combat is strength. And range combat is agility. So I believe, I don't know, I think this is like, I believe this is skillless system. So yeah, there's only attributes that you roll. And then I think they're going to kind of this sort of skillless system, attributes and your talents, because there's really no skills. You're just assuming you can do stuff based on your stats. So that's a pretty interesting change, right? Yeah, there's this attributes and talents that give you dice and your gear. So it's pretty interesting. All right, so that makes it pretty straightforward. No skills. I guess if you could propose you want to do something, you just default to an attribute, and with the appropriate gear, you have X number of dice. So, all right. Other hazards have a good, everything from explosions to falling. And they talk about neurocasting, which is its own subsystem. And I guess it's like going through the web, different drones. They still have that strange smiley aesthetic that is throughout, which is interesting. Oh, it's cool. There's a map. I didn't notice that. Vehicles, they have different vehicles. Everything from a horse to a helicopter or a military drone ship. This is pretty cool. Going through the lands. The art is impressive. I do like the art of Simon Stålenhag. So that's pretty neat. Oh, they talk about there's like a vehicle. I mean, I guess because travel is important in vehicle movement. There are like vehicle mishaps and what happens in vehicle combat and chases, gear and repairs, which is nice. There you go. Wonderful picture here on the journey. So looks like there's a travel mechanic as well, planning the journey, etc. Starting the journey, and ending the journey, like what happens, setting the scene, and it's kind of like a hex crawl or a point crawl in a way. Conflicts that you can run into, right? So it's like it talks about in the journey, where you find places, starting the journey, like where you go, who's driving, where is everyone sitting, what the goals are, have the tension level, and I guess we'll play it out. And then at the end of the last stop, you reach your destination. Why are you doing that? So I guess it makes more sense when I look at the adventure. There's a countdown, countdown mechanic. Like things happen in the background no matter what the players do, which is similar to Walking Dead. And then you play the stop. So like when you stop, your job is to follow the travelers around and react to what they do. Let the NPCs act and react to what the travelers say and do. Point out needs, paint a picture what the travelers see, hear, and smell. Yep. So, and what the reactions are. A lot of improvisation I can see. This is pretty. It's kind of scary. Picture threats. guess there's these drones, combat-looking drones in the water. All right. Types of threats. What do they have? There's violent threats like law enforcement, secret agents, interesting, gang members, crazed killers, manipulative threats like cultists. So that's good. They give you like what kind of context using local strongmen, right? A la the governor from Walking Dead, business leaders, and tech threats like robots. So it's pretty crazy. And they talk about like a countdown involving the robot threat. So I guess in every threat situation, there's like, this is what can happen, and this is how I mean, tension's probably the wrong word to use here because tension's for something else in this game, but you know, there's some sort of countdown to something potentially violent happening. So, or a different solution to the problem, or the problem happening, I guess. There's environmental threats as well, and then they have into the dust. Looks like they're right. Okay, cool. So this is like a starting adventure, which is great. And they have some threats that they have as well. There's some NPCs that they present that could be threats with a countdown for each one. And they have their stats. And then starting the game and encounters along the way, which is interesting. And then, oh, I guess there's a couple stops here, and then they have like various stops that they get to. I guess it could be, I don't know how campaign-ish it could be. But they do have like a mini campaign, I would say, in here. So I don't know, I'd have to read it more to see what the overall goal of the adventure is, but they have several destination sites. So you could just run through this and have them meet these different people. Here's a fun picture on the here on the left with the dog and the little drone. Let's see. That looks kind of fun. And then the lone traveler. So if you did it by yourself, like a solo game, and that's a pretty substantial, yeah, substantial chapter actually. So I guess you could do that. I mean, Free League is good about that. They always have some sort of, you know, solo type things. So they do have, it's a very simple, like I said, no skills, strength, agility, wits, empathy, and then your other stats like health and hope, bliss, etc. Your talents, your tension with other travelers. So they have some pre-made characters, 4 of them it looks like. An artist, a runaway kid, an outsider, and a veteran. So that's pretty interesting. And then they have a map of Pacifica, which is like the California, Southern California area. See, it's a quite large map, sort of done in the Free League kind of cartography design that you see familiar with you know, Tales from the Loop. And I think Walking Dead is a similar type of treatment. So that's the Electric State. I don't know. I backed it because of the art and Free League, and I've liked Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood. I've gotten Tales from the Loop to the table. I have not gotten Things from the Flood, which is like Tales from the Loop. You play like elementary school children, so children under 10 or 11, and then in Things from the Flood, you play teens and preteens. Those are the characters, and then Electric State, it looks like, you know, more akin, so I'd say, to Walking Dead within a post-apocalyptic technological apocalypse than a zombie apocalypse. Excuse me again. All right, so Electric State, check it out, maybe.